listeners. This is Priyanka saying your host today. And to introduce myself, I work with Deakin University and I'm leading the business development initiatives in South Asia. I'm very thrilled to welcome you all into the show today. Deakin Conversations is the newest podcast in town, brought to you by our Deakin South Asia office in Delhi. In this podcast, we will be in conversation with some of our brilliant Deakin students who are navigating their life as an international student in Australia or have graduated and are now on to doing some amazing things around the world. So I'm really excited about this, and you as listeners will be getting a first-hand look into the aspirations, learnings, and experiences of these Deakin students and graduates. So without any further delay, I would like to introduce the guest for today's session. And with me today, I have Calvin Gomez, who's a PhD candidate in material engineering and a graduate mechanical engineer from Deakin University. Now, before starting his candidature at Deakin, Calvin completed his Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering Honours degree in 2020 from Deakin. And he's also the recipient of the Vice-Chancellor's Meritorious scholarships. He then worked as a graduate engineer at Air Radiators, Victoria, for a period of 9 months, during which he decided that he desires to expand his horizon and started his PhD. Calvin was awarded the Deakin University Postgraduate Research Scholarship to support his PhD work and coursework at Deakin. Wow, Calvin, that's a lot of achievement to feel proud of. Welcome to the show, Calvin, and I'm really excited to have you today for this conversation. So, Calvin, would you like to give a brief intro about yourself?
Thank you, Frank. I think you pretty much said everything about me. I don't think there's much.
Did I miss something?
Nah, I don't think there's anything more than that. Yeah, I think one thing you probably missed is I'm a very typical Chennai boy. So I'm like as Madrasi as you can get. So I'm from Chennai. So yeah, it's been such a big journey for me, and coming to Deakin was a life-changing experience. And I think I'm excited to talk about this today in this podcast. And thank you for having me on your podcast. And this is a very exciting venture for you guys as well. And I'm happy to be a part of it.
Great. Thanks, Calvin. So that takes me to my first question, Calvin, for the show. So since you mentioned that you are a boy from Chennai, and you went to Deakin after your year 12th. So what was your experience like from, transitioning from Chennai to Melbourne? Tell us about all the differences and similarities you identified between the two cities.
Yeah, so like you said, I am very Chennai, but even though my family is actually from Kerala, I was born and raised in Chennai, so I always identify myself as a Tamil boy. And then coming to Australia was a big change for me. One thing I would say that I missed a lot was the food. Like I could eat biryani for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's how much I love it. So if you can give me biryani for the rest of my life and tell me that's all I get to eat, I will be happy. I will never complain. But so I definitely missed the food. The food was different. But in terms of the people, I think Australians in general are very friendly. That's one thing I tell a lot of international students when they come here, when they're a bit hesitant, they're like, oh, how are Australians? Are they like nice to you and stuff? I always tell them no, like they actually are really friendly. They talk to you like they've known you for like a very long time. And this is not just one or two people. It's like most of them, 90% of the people that I've interacted with, they always come off really friendly and they're curious about your culture and they want to know about that as well. And so the differences I think are quite different. I'd say in terms of being in India, I think if you look at the traffic system and stuff, it's there's trying to be order in chaos, but then over here it's the other way around, right? So everything is more orderly and everyone's following the rules. All those things are very different, and I've trying to accommodate to that was a big change. And as a whole, it was a massive culture shock, and I liked it because it was that made me adapt into a different environment and improve on my social skills and get better with interacting with people from other cultures as well.
Yeah, I can totally relate to all of what you've said because I've been to Melbourne a couple of times, and
Yeah.
the first thing that hits you is, of course, the traffic situation. Being from
Yeah.
Delhi, being born and brought up and studied and spent major portion of my life in Delhi, I can understand that traffic thing is the first thing that hits you. And of course, food, cafe culture, and the beach. One gets really intrigued by all
Yeah.
these things. It's totally fascinating. And yes, Australia is a very, very multicultural country and a very welcoming one. So you will definitely find a space for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So,
Since you
yeah.
brought up the coffee, I'll just add to that. Like, so Melbourneians are known for their coffee. They have a big coffee culture here, like you mentioned, and that's where one thing we're similar to Chennai as well. Chennai people love their filter coffee, which is very popular there. I'm not a coffee person per se, but I've had other people come down from Chennai try coffee here, and they say it's very, very similar or like to the same level. So I think if you're Tamil and if you want to come down to Melbourne, I think that's something that you can look forward to.
Yeah, totally. If you're a coffee person, then Melbourne is the place for you.
Melbourne is the place. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and another thing that hits me the most is, of course, the pollution situation in India. And the moment you land, you get to see the clear sky and sunny days. That's another thing that sort of comes across to you quite hard. Okay,
Yeah.
so moving on to my next question, Calvin. So, from a very young age, you were passionate about science and technology, which of course is an extremely difficult stream for anyone to pursue. Now, unlike many others in India who choose this path of becoming an engineer out of parental or societal pressure, but in your case, I believe you wanted to be an engineer out of sheer passion for it. So could you tell our listeners what got you interested into this field at a very young age? What got you that clarity and towards becoming an engineer or towards choosing this path?
Yeah, now that's a question that I do get a lot, and I'm gonna share something with you I've never told anyone before. So science was something that kind of intrigued and made me curious at a very young age, and that was because of one of my science teachers. I think in my third grade, her name was Sarla ma'am. So she's no more, so may her soul rest in peace. But yeah, so she's the one who got me into science, and because she was so passionate about teaching science and telling us how things work and trying to explain it with like practical experiments in class. When I got to see that, I always had this curiosity like to learn how things work in real life, and that made me want to like get into technology. And so I'm always like looking up. My mom used to give me books about science and technology, which I used to read about space technology. So space was a big part of my life. I've always wanted to be an astronaut. I'm still looking, still aiming to get to that point somehow. But that's always a dream of mine. And all those things kind of layered up to me choosing a path in engineering. And like a lot of people say in India, they pick engineering out of sheer pressure and parental pressure because still, I don't know, for some reason, Indian parents still think engineering is the best course you can do to get a job, even though there's so many engineers out there without jobs. And that's a different story. Let's not go into that. But then in my case, I was a bit lucky. So my mom and dad were happy with my decision because that's pretty much what they wanted as well. But I wanted to do engineering from a very beginning. And that's why I chose a path in engineering, because technology has always been something that's intrigued me. And to be a part of that and you becoming an engineer will let you build that technology, which you've always been curious about. And I think that's what kind of made me want to choose this path. And maybe I think that's why I'm doing my PhD as well, because I'm even expanding even beyond the workings of it. I'm trying to find new things that probably has never been found before. And I think that's what's
So, Calvin, it's amazing, how our teachers have, impact on us, and how, our experience with them, or how they help us shape our future. So it's really interesting, and all of us, have those memories from our childhood days. And it becomes much more easier when you have an understanding parents, and they actually let you do what you want to do. So that's really great, and I'm sure your parents would be very, very proud of you. Yeah, so moving on, Calvin, you are one of the winners of Deakin's prestigious Vice-Chancellor Meritorious Scholarship. So just to let our listeners know that Deakin University offers four 100% tuition fee waiver scholarships, and these are available to students who have completed their year 12th in India and are wanting to pursue their undergraduate studies at Deakin, and these are also available for students who are wanting to pursue their postgraduate studies at Deakin. So Calvin, tell me, how did you go about your application? What was the interview process like? And I'm sure a lot of our listeners would like to get such scholarships in future. So do you have any tips that you can share with young aspirants?
Yeah, 100%. I think that was one of the most
Highlights.
important highlights of my life. That's actually what changed the way things like happened to me. It was life changing, like I said before. And that all came across, and I think that was when I applied, that was still the time when it was partnered with NDTV and it was done through NDTV. So I saw the application online, it was advertised, and me being me, I like to live my life on the edge. So I had this somewhere in the back of my head that there was this scholarship opportunity, and I was just like, it was just there. And I think I knew the deadline, and I was out somewhere with my parents. I think we were at a school event or something. And then all of a sudden I realized, wait, isn't today the deadline for that scholarship? And so I rushed back home, and I think we had like 4 or 5 hours before the actual deadline, the submission deadline. So I was like sitting and writing up my essay, and I literally submitted like 1 minute before the thing closed. So it was like all exciting. It was like last minute. And I somehow got it through, and then I was so surprised when I actually got the call, I think a couple of weeks later, because I just assumed I'd be like, out of so many applications now, I was the last one to put in. They probably already shortlisted the ones, but then I was surprised to get the call. And then it was a very interesting process. I had a phone interview first. They asked me all these questions like why I want to go to Australia, why I want to study, what I'm interested in, why engineering. And I think it was all about just showing that you have the passion to do it was what made the difference. And when I cleared the phone interview, I had to do a Skype interview after that. And that was also very nerve-wracking, because never done anything like that before in my life. So it was quite interesting and quite eye-opening for me as well. So that was about the same process. So they asked me different bunch of questions. And finally, when I got the call saying you can come down to Delhi now, we will do a live TV interview, I was like I was so happy. It was like out of the world. And so my dad used to work in Malaysia at that time. So my mom called my dad. He's like, you need to come down. So he flew down from Malaysia. Just the whole family went to Delhi. So it was like a big event for us. Like we all went there. My dad flew down from Malaysia. We went from Chennai to Delhi, and we met there. And then we attended the interview, and then the interview was like a 2-stage process. So it was pretty full on. And like literally when I saw the other contestants who were also applying for the scholarship, I was like, no way I'm gonna get this, because all of these were smart, intelligent people from around the nation, and they're all the cream of the crop out there. So it's very, very it was a very tough interview. So I was very happy that I got it. And when they actually announced it, that I was one of the winners, I remember just losing myself for a bit. And that was really good. And my mom, obviously, my mom being my mom, she cried on national television. And that happened. So it was a very, very interesting process. And I think the whole point of that was, as a tip I'd give for other people applying for the scholarship, is to just be yourself. And I think that's what I did there, because I know if you believe in yourself and you know what you've done is good enough for you to get the scholarship, and that's why you're applying in the first place. Because if you're not confident about yourself, I don't think you'll apply in the first place. But when you apply, just be yourself and just tell them why you really want to do it. And I think that's what actually makes a difference. And I think that's what they saw in me that day, that I was really passionate about engineering. I was passionate about doing what I want to do. And I think that's why I got it that day, even though I was competing with so many other brilliant minds. yeah, and then that was an amazing experience. I can talk about it all day, so I'll let you let you just move on.
No, thanks. That's really great. Some great tips here for our listeners and young
Yeah.
aspirants who would like to take this path. In future, be yourself, be confident, just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Are the mantras from Calvin for us. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
thanks.
don't submit in the last minute. Probably
Yeah.
probably plan ahead. Don't be me. So that's one thing that you should don't take from me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now, we come to the most exciting part of this interview, which is the rapid fire question. So I'm going to throw some questions at you, and whatever comes to your mind, feel free to sort of come out with that. So
Yeah.
here's the first question. So, what's your favorite subject in school, Calvin?
I was definitely physics. I know.
Had to be
Yeah.
physics. Can't
It
be
has
any
to be
other.
physics. Like
Had
I
to
can't
be.
say anything else now because people will be like, "You're an engineer. You have to say physics." I'm like, "Yeah, it's physics."
Yeah. What's your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. I like. Oh, actually, I like halwa. I like halwa. Yeah.
Oh, you're a person with sweet tooth.
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, quite a sweet tooth. My mom, I get that from my mom. My mom has quite a bit of sweet tooth. So yeah, I love this really nice brown alwa that you get from Kerala. So every time we visit Kerala, we buy like a pack of it. So and I think I eat probably 80% of it. Yeah. So yeah, that's my favorite dessert.
Yeah, mentally I'm eating that right now.
Maybe when I come to India, I could get some for you from Kerala. Yeah.
Done. That's a deal.
Yeah.
So, what's your hidden talent, Calvin?
Oh, it's not much hidden. So I do sing. So yeah, I haven't sung in a while now because I think after coming here I kind of lost. That's one thing I probably regret that I haven't done much after coming here. The singing and dancing I still probably do sometimes, but singing is something that I really love to do. I haven't done much to coming to Australia. Yeah, singing is one of my hidden talents, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, nice. You have a great voice as well, so I'm sure you
Oh,
will do
thank
really
you.
well.
Yeah, I did a bit of classical music training when I was young, so please don't test me. I'm quite bad at it. It's been
My
a while.
God. I mean, there's whole lot of things about you that is still to come out.
Yeah.
Tell me one subject you would like to learn more about.
Actually, finance. I don't know. I think it's more of a grown up answer. I think right now with all because after coming here, you're living by yourself and you're earning money by yourself, so you have to manage your expenses. So like I think about finance and like that kind of stuff is something I still lack a lot of knowledge in. And the worst part about it is like my whole family who live in Australia, they're all into finance. So every time I'm at a dinner table with them, I mean, they have a conversation. I'm basically just sitting there just staring because it just sounds like Greek and Latin to me. So I'm like, I have no clue what you guys talking about. So I think just to kind of get my family to accept me, I want to learn about a bit more about finance. Yeah.
Yeah, so from physics to finance, that's
Yeah,
going to be
why not? Yeah.
yeah, why not? Absolutely. Who's your hero, Calvin?
That's actually a hard one. You put me on the spot there. My hero, actually, yeah, it's actually Abdul Kalam, to be honest. Yeah. Nah, I used to say this before. I actually forgot for some reason. Yeah, it is definitely Abdul Kalam because, like I said, I always want to be an astronaut, and he was one of the pioneers of Indian space research.
Yes.
I'm still waiting for Indian space program to send astronauts to outer space. So that's hoping that happens soon. But yeah, Abdul Kalam being one of the pioneers of Indian space research and a fundamental key person in ISRO. Yeah, it is, and his whole life mantra of like to dream and to dream bigger.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I've always looked up, and I had a chance to. He came to our school once. Didn't get to really meet him, but then I was there in the vicinity of Abdul Kalam. That itself made it very special for me. So yeah, I definitely are. A very famous Abdul Kalam will be my hero. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So if you had to change your first name, what would you change it to?
Okay, this is gonna be. I would probably want to change it to a more of an Indian name because like I get this a lot. So after coming to Australia, I think one of the things that I probably hear a lot when I say my name is Calvin, they're always like, okay, but what is your Indian name? I'm like, no, that is my actual name. So maybe to be a bit more Indian, I'll probably change it to, I don't know, like Kabir sounds like a very nice, good-looking person's name, so I'll take Kabir. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks, Calvin. With this, we've come to the end of our show. Thank you for being with us today, and it was an absolute pleasure interacting with you. And I'm sure our listeners enjoyed hearing from you and are going to benefit immensely from the inputs you shared on this show today. Thank you so much, Calvin.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun doing this. Yeah, I hope I could add some kind of value to future Deakin students who want to come to Australia. And then, yeah, if anyone comes to Australia, just hit me up. I'm pretty sure my LinkedIn is just very searchable. Calvin Gomez is not very very common name, so you will find me on LinkedIn if you just look me up. So awesome. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Calvin, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you.